A large model Showman'S engine, and this is part 15, rewiring the lights in the canopy, because the existing wiring was a joke and the centre rails didn't work at all anyway. Here's part of the old wiring on the floor, and in amongst this mess are various badly soldered joints. With the help of my friend Andy, who is a professional electrician, we're going to rewire the lights. Well, Andy is anyway. Whilst simultaneously and at the same time practicing social distancing, keeping a full 2 meters between the two of us at all times. Here's the basic sequence. Andy dismantles the old lighting, rewires it and passes the rail to me. Then I test the continuity using a 9-volt battery. These bulbs are wired in series, so if one of the bulbs doesn't work, none of them will work. Why didn't I wire the lights myself? Well, a couple of reasons. My wiring is not as neat as this, and the other reason is Andy is much better at wiring because he does it all the time as part of his job. I'll speed up this section just to get through it. My wiring looks like this. Not good. Although to be fair on myself, the wires in the block connector were a quick lash up in an attempt to make the original wiring of the lighting units work, but it didn't. This is a much better way to do it. These are the two rear inner rails, and this is where I mounted my regulator extension mechanism. And while Andy was having a hammering festival, I decided to drill some larger holes on the marks to fit some M6 captive nuts. And in the time it took me to do that job, Andy had completed another of the outer rails. Once again, I'm populating the lighting rail with some bulbs, after which I will test the bulbs using my 9-volt battery. By doing it this way, when we refit the rails to the canopy, at least we know they're all going to work. That's the plan anyway. I'm only using a 9-volt battery for this job. It's a 4-watt 9-volt battery, so it's got enough power, more or less. But they're not very bright, are they? All of the lighting rails in the canopy are made up from 3 components: a central rail containing 6 bulbs in bulb holders, and then 2 more rails at the front and rear which have 3 bulbs in each. Then across the front of the canopy are a further 3 bulbs just on brackets. Originally the canopy had 51 bulbs, but we are going to remove a couple of them from the inner rail right at the back. So in the end there will be 49 12-volt 5-watt bulbs. This plastic box was held to the canopy in the centre by a cable tie. It has a switch potentiometer sticking out of it, and when I remove the lid, this is what's inside. It appears to be a 3-channel flasher unit, and the potentiometer varies the speed at which the lights flash. I don't want any of the lights to flash at all. I don't think it's necessary. If there are any electronic experts out there, I could do with some information. The electronic components are built onto Vero board, and on the top board are 3 of these. When I lift off the top board and look underneath, it's a much more complicated circuit. If there are any electronic experts out there, please feel free to tell me what they are. In any case, it's not going back into the traction engine. I should really throw this box of tricks away, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this box just in case I ever need to bury a hamster or any other furry rodent for that matter in the garden. Many years ago, my youngest daughter Catherine had a hamster, and it lived for a couple of years. Then one morning in the cage the wheel went silent, and it was rigid. The hamster, not the wheel. My daughter wasn't particularly upset at this stage because after 2 years of listening to this hamster rattle around in this wheel, she was a bit fed up of it anyway. I went to see a friend of mine who had an engraving business, and he made me a really nice grave marker that stuck in the ground. On it said, "Here lies Eddie the hamster, Ars Longa Vita Brevis." And Ars Longa Vita Brevis is the title of an album by a band called The Nice from the 1960s, and loosely translated it means art is long, life is short. I dug a suitable hole in the garden. The hamster was ceremoniously placed in an empty Ferrero Rocher box, and my small daughter Catherine put a sticker on the box which said, "I've been good at the doctors today." The box was placed in the ground and the hole filled in, and then I stuck the grave marker in place. What's this got to do with wiring the canopy of a traction engine, you may be asking? Well, nothing, except this box would be suitable for burying possibly up to 3 small furry rodents, which is always a useful thing to know, as it's impossible to tell when your rodent is going to expire. The pile of loose wiring on the ground is growing. The bench is looking very messy as usual, possibly slightly more so. The good news is all 6 of the outer rails are now in position. Time to fit the bulbs and test everything. My compressor is very feeble, so I can only run it at this speed that you see on the video for about 6 seconds. I can't say I'm impressed with the brightness of the bulbs. I think we need to do something about that. There are many videos on YouTube about traction engines at the Great Dorset Steam Fair, and there's a really good one that goes down a line of traction engines all generating electricity at night. The flywheels of the traction engines on the video seem to be rotating about the same speed as this one. The light bulbs on my engine appear to be a bit dim. I need to rethink the wiring. Basically, what I have at the moment are 4 rails of lights. From front to back, there are 3 bulbs right across the front. Then there are 4 banks of 3 lights, all wired in series. And in the middle of the canopy are 4 banks of 6, again wired in series. There are a further 4 light rails at the rear of the canopy, and they also have 3 bulbs on each one, all wired in series. The generator at a reasonable speed gives 60 volts, although at a higher speed it would give considerably more than that. So if there are any electronics experts out there, please let me know what's the best solution. But please, if you don't know, kindly do not comment. I would like the engine to run at this speed and have the canopy glowing quite brightly. I've ordered 60 new bulbs, which are 6 volt 5 watt, not 12 volt 5 watt. I'll try those first, but for now, stay safe, stay well. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. And click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back, making it unnecessary to comment that the videos are too short.